And good evening, everyone. It's meeting number 7, Tuesday, May 24th. This is the council meeting for May, and it's amazing how time flies. Just to start, we're going to sing O Canada. So if you could please rise if you're able. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, a true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. I'm going to ask Councillor Riley at this time to do the opening petition.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, before the land acknowledgement?
Yes, please, if you
Okay,
could.
not a problem. So, we'll just grab it here. We gather together here today, intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faith give us strength to act honestly and well in matters before us. As we come to the end of May, we, as the Township of West Lincoln Council, wish to acknowledge that the month of June is Pride Month in the region of Niagara. Municipalities across the region will be raising its Pride flag on Monday, May 30th, 2022, and we are pleased to be participating in West Lincoln. We recognize that the public representation is extremely valuable and is an important way to help all people, especially marginalized communities, feel safe, welcomed, supported, and valued. Let's all unite with pride and show our support of those who identify as two-spirited, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer and or questioning, intersex, asexual, along with countless affirmative ways in which people choose to self-identify. You're all valid members of our community. The people of West Lincoln join our neighbors to the south in grief following all the recent shootings of innocent people. As a township, we unequivocally condemn the senseless violence along with any ideologies that promote racism and discrimination. There is no place for this ignorance and hatred in our societies. To the families and individuals of those who were killed and maimed in this horrific attack, we mourn with you and we send our love and our sincerest condolences. May you find comfort in the memories of those you loved, and may you once again find peace in the beautiful community you come from, or you call home, sorry. Nobody should ever have to feel unsafe as they go about their daily lives. Is at this moment we would like to take a moment of silence to honor the lives that were lost, not just from those recent events, but as well as the lives that were lost from this past weekend regarding the devastating storm that we all had to experience. So at this time, Mr. Mayor, I ask for that moment of silence.
So be it. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Council, for that moment of patience and memory. Due to the efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 and to protect all individuals, the council chambers will not be open to the public to attend standing committees and council meetings until further notice. The public may submit comments for matters that are on the agenda to jshimei@westlincoln.ca before 4:30 on the day of the meeting. Comments submitted will be considered as public information and read into the public record. Any members of the public can watch this evening's council meeting by using live stream link found on the township's website, as this meeting is being live streamed and is also being audio and video recorded and will be posted on the township's website and can be viewed anytime following the meeting. The township of West Lincoln, being part of the Niagara region, is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations such as the Hattaway-Wendarong, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. Township of West Lincoln is part of the Niagara Regional Municipality, stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Council, is there any changes in the order of items on the agenda this evening? I see none, Madam Clerk. Are there any members of council that have a disclosure of pecuniary and or conflict of interest with respect to an item on this evening's council agenda? And again, Madam Clerk, I see none. So we have an opportunity to request items on the agenda as per section 6.7 of the procedural bylaw. Kevin, is there any members of the community wishing to speak on from your end?
Not seeing any, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. And Madam Clerk, were there any members of the public that had emailed comments prior to 4:30 today with respect to an item on the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor, there was not.
Thank you very much. Well, very quickly, we move on to our appointments and presentations, and I'm pleased this evening to have Victoria from the Niagara 2022 Canada Summer Games. She'll be giving us a PowerPoint presentation, and I was going to shed my jacket and just put on, you know, the one there for Niagara 2022. Victoria, the floor is yours, please. Tell us what you have. Oh, you seem to be muted. I see your presentation, the nice mountains. We were speaking earlier.
Trying to unmute myself.
There we go. Beautiful.
Can you hear me now? Well,
yeah, we can hear you now.
That was a little crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you so much. We're the excitement's starting to build.
All right. My apologies as I get this presentation up and running. I'm so used to Google Meet. Bear with me here. I don't know why this shut down on me, but Your Worship, City Councilors, West Lincoln staff and community, thank you very much for allowing me to be here tonight. I'm just going to open this here. Hopefully it'll pop up. Here we go. And I did have this ready. Okay, can you see that okay? Is it coming up now?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much.
Well,
perfect.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I appreciate your patience. So I'm just going to take you through a few slides here. I want to respect everybody's time. Just kind of going to some bare basics here. The Canada Games are held every 2 years, alternating between winter and summer. The Games are Canada's largest multi-sport competition for youth, young athletes. The Games are one of the only national youth multi-sport competitions in the world. So we're very excited to have it hosted here in Niagara. As I mentioned, every 2 years, alternating between winter and summer. The last games were held in Red Deer in 2019, and of course, due to the postponement, we've been altered to 2022. Some of the highest level of competition athletes come from the Canada Games. A lot of our athletes perform so well at the Olympics. And here are some premier athletes that you might recognize some of the names with. 30% of Team Canada's athletes at the 2018 Olympics were Canadian Games alumni. So we're very proud of these names. Canada Games since 1967, 27 hosted thus far, over 130,000 athletes, 100,000 volunteers, including all 13 provinces and territories of Canada, very inclusive. And as we move together as a unit, we're very excited about, being the first kind of national games to come out of this global pandemic. And we're very happy that we're moving forward together and bringing the communities together this August. So we are, in fact, the 28th edition of the Canada Games. Our games are from August 6th to the 21st, held here throughout the whole Niagara region. We're here to inspire, transform, and unify. The reason why I put this one here, our tagline is once and for all. The games will only be coming to Ontario every 24 years, so definitely not once again in my lifetime. But even though when it does come back to Ontario, it'll never find its way back here in Niagara. You're only a host society once. So this is our once opportunity, and these games are for all. So our Niagara games look a little bit like this when it comes to the numbers. We'll have 5,000 athletes, coaches, support staff, 4,500 volunteers, involving all 13 municipalities and regions of Niagara. Of course, the region being a municipality of its whole. Our torch program, which is about to be ignited in 14 days. And most of these slides that I'll be showing with you in the next little while are kind of geared to West Lincoln's inclusion of the games. So the very first inclusion is the Niagara Torch program. So on Monday, June 6th, to which all of you would have received an invitation to join us in Ottawa at Parliament Hill, we'll be lighting the torch to start the official torch program of the games. That'll be happening right there at Centennial Flame. And then from there, it will embark through the Trans-Canada Trail from June 6th to June 15th. It'll make its way from behind Parliament Hill all the way through to Ottawa and conclude in Montreal downtown. From there, the torch will go from the port, they say St. Lambert Lock in Montreal. It'll embark upon the CSL Welland, and it will travel through the St. Lawrence Seaway, through Lake Ontario, through the Welland Canal, and disembark in Port Colborne in the Niagara region. This nice little picture there. And then from there, it takes us what we call our land journey, starting from Thorold, reaching to every single municipality through Niagara. Each municipality will have its own start and its own finish. And you'll see here West Lincoln is stop number 8. Each event, like I said, it will have its own dedicated start line, finish line. It's not an ongoing torch. Each Saturday for 6 consecutive weekends, we'll have a different event, with the exception of West Lincoln. You'll see there on weekend 5, to support the farmers market that you already currently have happening in West Lincoln, we decided to turn the Sunday event into a Friday evening event. So West Lincoln's torch rally will be on Friday, June 15th. And let me tell you a little bit what that looks like. We'll be starting at the Leisureplex from 4 to 6 p.m. And we'll get everybody registered and so forth. And the start line is exactly at 6 p.m. And there's our route located on this slide. We'll be going from the Leisureplex, making our way all the way through, and then ending up at the community center for approximately 7 o'clock. And then from there, we'll go into a closing celebration and so forth. I believe, Your Worship, are you one of our torchbearers?
I am.
That's so exciting. So thank you very much for joining us, and you'll be joining us at our start and finish on our podium as well, bringing greetings to your community and being a part of this.
Looking
So
forward.
again, yeah, so that's July 15th. And then because we're concluding at your farmers market, the celebration includes your community at large, because this event is already happening. So we're just going to be, we're very happy to collaborate and be a part of that farmers market, and we'll just bring further excitement and amplify what you're already doing there. Under festivals and celebrations, we have our opening ceremony scheduled on August 6th at the Meridian Center, and this is the official start to the games. You would have received through your executive office right now an invitation to join us for the opening ceremony. Your Worship, you would have been received your VIP accreditation invitation, as well as your CAO, and councillors, you would have received an opportunity to join us here for the opening ceremony. During this event, there'll be a welcoming of the Canadian flag, to which West Lincoln has nominated a youth ambassador to represent your community. We'll also be having a piano jam, which I'll show you in a couple of slides. And then we'll have the arrival of the Canadian Games flag through a Memorial Honor Guard. Let me tell you what this looks like. So we kind of bring in our youth ambassadors to bring in the Canadian flag. And West Lincoln, as I mentioned, has nominated their own youth ambassador representing your community. During this program as well, we'll be having 13 pianos, one piano to represent each one of the municipalities here in Niagara. There will be a piano to represent West Lincoln, and Brock University will be painting that piano to represent the cultural behind West Lincoln. And then during the opening ceremonies, we have a pianist that has been nominated by your staff that will represent West Lincoln and play the Flight of the Bumblebee during what we call our piano jam. So definitely you're a part of our opening ceremonies. And then as we bring in the Canadian Games flag, we're going to be inviting all 12 mayors to join us there on the floor. And you'll see a little blue line there. That's the representation of the Welland Canal. We have water incorporated into all of our program from opening. And then we will be inviting West Lincoln to join us on that floor as well. And Lord Mayor, Worship Mayor, I don't know if you'll be joining us that night, but we'll definitely have representation from West Lincoln on that floor. And then for closing ceremony, that will be on August 21st. This is open to the public without ticket or anything like that. All is invited to join us. So we invite the community of West Lincoln to join us and everybody from council as well. This is where we kind of basically, kind of tap everybody on the shoulder and say, great job. And we pass over the flag over to PEI for their winter games that will happen 6 short months from our games. So from here, I'm going to go into the games time accreditation and VIP protocols. So we have what we call classifications, and these are the classifications that are given to us by Canada Games Council. A reminder that we're just a franchise of the Canada Games, and we're under their protocols and guidelines. So Mayor will receive a VIP accreditation, the same as the CAO will be receiving a VIP accreditation, to which you will have to register yourself through that system. The full council of West Lincoln and one guest will be invited to our Hall of Honor and welcome reception. And then we invite you by tickets purchased to come to opening ceremony on that August 6th event. There was a pre-sale for municipalities. I believe that's complete, and that was communicated directly through the EA office. We also invite West Lincoln to join us on our sport programming, and city councilors are invited to use the City 50 code to get a 50% off of all of our ticketing for your scheduling. You'll be wearing a accreditation badge. These accreditation badges are non-transferable, so you will have a photo uptake and so forth. And there's some magical numbers there at the bottom that tell you what your inclusion gets. So for your worship and for CEO, you'll have mortar pool, and you'll have access to all of our sporting events and our VIP events and so forth. So those VIP events, just a reminder, Hall of Honor welcome reception happening in Niagara Falls at their convention center on August 5th. All city councilors will be invited. That invitation actually will be hitting your desk this Thursday. There'll be a pre-opening reception for opening ceremonies at the Meridian Center, to which we just flow naturally into our opening ceremony. And there'll be a pre-closing reception at Queen Victoria Park, which will naturally lead into our closing ceremonies as well. Our 13 for 13 festival, between opening and closing, we have what we call our 2 festivals, one happening during the day and one happening in the evening time. Our evening festival is called 13 for 13, and the reason why that is because we've paired our 13 municipalities of Niagara with the 13 provinces and territories of Canada. And we've created this festival that celebrates Canada as a whole, bringing all everybody's culture into each other's events. So we get to travel around across Canada without leaving Niagara. 13 different sites, food, entertainment, just a great way of celebrating the community. For West Lincoln, you're paired with Saskatchewan. Your event is happening on Monday, August 8th. It is happening from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Community Center and the new band shell that was supported with the Canada Games infrastructure as well. You've been doing great planning, and I give kudos to your team. Their planning staff has been doing a great job on their event. For entertainment, you'll be having the Saskatchewan North Sound Duo join us. Saskatchewan will be supplying and supporting this financially, bringing this duo down to the event. And your planning team has also secured Josh Edwards with his Moonlight Company band doing some great, I think, Sheepdog band cover songs. And that's the evening event. And then our daytime festival is called Niagara Place, and that'll happen at Canada Games Park in our parking lot. It'll be there for 15 solid days. And we've also did a huge call out for artists throughout all of Niagara. I'm very excited to say that we have 3 acts from the West Lincoln community joining us on that stage. Very inclusive, different genres for different ages and so forth. Happy to have you be a part of that. The games are a very powerful catalyst to provide vital and transformative legacies for the Niagara region. And I believe you all are aware of Canada Games Park. We had our grand opening on April 22nd, even though this is an old picture, it's the most recent one that I have. This is a premier legacy project of the Canada Games. Sport and Ability Center, quadruple gymnasium to which the River Lions are now practicing on, 2 rinks, a parasport gymnasium, and a 200-meter indoor track. There's another picture from there. You'll see the back parking lot that will be transformed into what I just shared with you, Niagara Place Festival. And of course, the Henry Rowing Center, which will be the host of the 2024 World Rowing Competition there in Port Dalhousie, St. Catharines. Another picture of that. And that grand opening should be happening late June, early July. And then very quickly here, almost rounding it off, at the heart of every games are thousands and thousands of volunteers. Happy to say when I went into our portal today, we do have quite a few hundred people from West Lincoln joining us as part of our volunteer team. So I thank you for that. And they all various roles from sport operation all the way through to Athletes Village. You'll find your community spread out in all the areas that they've shown interest in. And there you have it. There's our website. And I know I had to be brief today, but I just wanted to, again, just circle back and show you the inclusion of West Lincoln within our games. Happy to take any questions that you may have.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I certainly learned a lot, too, about what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm sure there may be a few questions from the council. Council, are there any questions or comments that you'd like to make with respect to the presentation? Councillor Bradrick, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you to Victoria. What a wonderful presentation. It's so exciting to see everything that's going to be happening. Just wanted to connect with you about how we can help support as councillors to get the word out about all the festivities through our various social media outlets. Is there, do you guys have a Facebook page? What is your social media so we can connect to that and get the community engaged and as excited as we are now?
Thank you, Councillor, for that question. It's perfect. Tomorrow we're going to be launching our torch relay program on our website. It's already there, but we're going to actually be introducing all 12 municipality leg routes, and we'll be communicating that with our planning team, which is already in place with your staff. So we'll be sharing with them all of those social channels and so forth. And there will be an event page as well for that torch event happening in West Lincoln. Same with our 13 for 13 event. We have a communications plan that's quite robust, and that will go live at the end of June. And we'll be sharing that through your staff who are working with us on that planning, again, sharing with you all of our links and so forth. So trust your administration team. They are fantastic to work with, and we'll continue to communicate through them, and they'll be sharing out as well. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you very much, and all the best in the coming weeks. You'll be a very busy team for sure.
Yep, 14 days away from lighting that torch in Ottawa and 74 days from opening. So while we're seeing the finish line, we're still a little nervous about getting there too quickly.
Good job. Okay, Councillor Ganan, I see your hand.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So through you to our guest, Victoria, thank you for the presentation. You know, what you've done is put the bits and pieces together that we have been part of or have been reading about in a sequence in an event that we can really follow. Just something that our local councillors are not aware of, perhaps, is that Kiwanis Club, our local club, was asked to help to find our youth representation, and we actually reached out to Fort, and so we have a member from one of our local Fort groups that's supported here through Kiwanis and also through the town who will be representing us, and it's a young lady who's very pleased to be doing that. The other interesting fact about that is when we knew The Flight of the Bumblebee was the musical piece, and anyone who is the least bit musical knows that that is not just an easy sit down and play piece, we were able to reach out to, through Brenda Walker actually, a local person, to a man whose name is Luis Molina. And Luis, the interesting part going on with that is, had been pursuing his Canadian citizenship. And on Canada Day of this year, he actually will become a Canadian citizen. And he is absolutely thrilled to be representing our community at the Canada Games and playing Flight of the Bumblebee with the other 12 pianists. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting story to sort of look at a brand new Canadian taking part in this as well. So thank you for your presentation.
And Councillor, you're absolutely correct. It's these little stories that bring the heart to what these games are all about. And some of the volunteers that are coming from your community, their stories are just as exciting. And I can't thank you enough for those kind words. So those two individuals that have been put forth on behalf of your community are going to represent you well.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Gannan, for filling in a couple of those blanks, because I did not know that. And so I'm glad that they were in the capable hands of the Kiwanis. Any other councillors wishing to add or comment or question? I see none. So, Victoria, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All the strength to you and your team as we kind of get into this home stretch. But and if you have any questions, we have that information as well. So
thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. I'll continue to work with your administration team, who again have been fantastic. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Righty. So moving on. We have at this time regional councillor remarks. Unfortunately, and I should have stated this at the outset, that Councillor Witteveen, Regional Councillor Witteveen, was unable to attend this evening as he is on the road. He asked me to mention just two things. The first is, well, he asked me to mention one thing, and I have one thing that I would like to add to this regional section, I guess. The first is that he wanted to let everyone know that the EA, the environmental assessment for the realignment of 30 Road, is scheduled for June. So it's an intersection that has long been a concern for us. There's been numerous accidents and injuries with respect to the S bend on 30 Road. So he wanted to let you know that from the Public Works in the Niagara region, that was going to happen. And the one thing that I was going to just add, I'm on a committee that it's on the development charge task force for the region. And one of the things I wanted to highlight with a particular note for West Lincoln is the north-south, so in the transportation section, the north-south escarpment crossing, as well as the bypass, are feature prominently in terms of the planning for development charges. And I think that's important to let this council know that those are now firmly in the radar of our region, and they've committed to those projects as well. And this is just another example of how they've committed to that. So those are the two things on the regional councilor's report, and he sends his regrets. So we're going to move on, unless there's any questions or comments. All right, I see none. We're going to move on to the confirmation of minutes for council regular on April the 25th. Councillor Bradrick, you have that resolution.
Yes, sir. Moved by myself, Councillor Shelley Bradrick, that the minutes of the April 25th, 2022 regular council meeting be accepted.
And can I get a seconder for that? And I see Councillor Jonkert. I'm going to ask, are there any comments or questions? I see none. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on, we have the council minute special for April the 27th. Councillor Gannan, I believe you have that resolution.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes of the April 27th, 2022 special council meeting be accepted.
And can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Riley. Any comments or questions? I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to public meeting under the Planning Act minutes of April 27th. Councillor Jonker, you have the resolution.
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Moved by myself that the minutes of the public meeting held on April 27th, 2022, under Section 17 of the Planning Act, with respect to A, the official plan amendment, OPA number 62, Smithville Master Community Plan, be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder for that? And I see Councillor Bradrick. Thank you. Any comments or questions? I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. So we have communications. This is the one that was highlighted last week, and so it's come forward. Councillor Rayner, you have the resolution. It's a nice long one, so hopefully you wet your whistle there. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Moved by myself that the Council of the Township of West Lincoln support the citizens residing in the area of the Grimsby Air Park, which is located in the town of Grimsby, directly adjacent to the municipal border of the Township of West Lincoln. And that the Township of West Lincoln support both the citizens of West Lincoln and Grimsby, whose rights to safety, enjoyment of property, and privacy are being compromised as a result of the use and operation of the Grimsby Air Park. And that the Township of West Lincoln requests the Federal Transportation Minister to address the concerns raised by the citizens of West Lincoln and Grimsby, whose rights to equal treatment under the laws and policy of the federal government have been disregarded. And that the Federal Transportation Minister be also aware of the negative impact that the continued operation of the Grimsby Air Park may have on the town of Grimsby and the Township of West Lincoln's ability for future growth. And that the Federal Minister of Transportation be and hereby requested to investigate the use and operation of the Grimsby Air Park, and that the possible abuse of privileges that may have bestowed upon them be an interjurisdictional immunity in a manner that disservices the many other airports that contribute positively to their immediate communities, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Dean Allison, MP, Niagara West, the Township of Grimsby, to take further action to address the citizens of Grimsby and West Lincoln who are being affected by the use and operation of the Grimsby Air Park, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Niagara region and the Niagara region area municipalities for their support.
Thank you so much, Councillor. Can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Trombetta, thank you. And any comments or questions with respect to this item? We discussed it a little bit last week. I don't know if you were able to reach out to any of the residents or whatever, if you have any comments that you'd like to enter. I'd like to just state then, just briefly, that this has been an ongoing file, as was stated last week. I'm glad that we're making some progress on this. We do have MP Dean Allison firmly in our court trying to represent us as best as he can. He will be placing this as well on the minister's radar. And I think it's the residents at least know that the municipality, both Grimsby and West Lincoln, have their concerns at heart. So thank you for having this brought forward. And go ahead, Councillor Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's not too much more I'm going to add. I just wanted to see if we can add, if we can also include the chair and CEO of Transport Canada to this as well. If we're going to be serious about this, we want to make sure we get it in the hands of all people who can advocate or at least make some kind of change here. So I would ask for a friendly amendment to this, just to include the chair and CEO of Transport Canada to be included in the circulation of this information.
Yeah, and those tend to be the friendly type, so I don't think there'd be an objection to Councillor Rayner, Councillor Trombetta. No? Okay. Madam CAO.
Thank you. Just to help, maybe, perhaps it should be the Deputy Minister of Transportation. as the appropriate staff level, if that is what your objective is, Councillor Riley?
Well, yeah, I think we definitely include them, but I think we should also include, I'm going to say her last name wrong, but France, I think it's Pagiot, and I think it'd be important that they're involved in the circulation of this so they're aware of it, and if they can advocate on our behalf, or at least be informed, maybe as they have their committees themselves, they can also review this in some kind of capacity.
Okay, if you could just get the name, you obviously have a name there, Councillor. If you could just get that to the clerk.
Sure, I'll send that to her right now.
With their title, appropriate title, yeah. Excellent. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question to receive this information.
Mr. Mayor, can we call for a recorded vote just so we could have that transparency for the community?
Okay, recorded vote has been called. I see no further discussion. Madam Clerk, please take up the recorded vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, Councillor Riley?
Support.
Councillor Bradrick?
Support.
Councillor Gannan?
Support.
Councillor Jonker?
Support.
Councillor Rayner?
Support.
Councillor Trombetta?
Support.
And Mayor Bosman?
Support.
Okay, that was a unanimous 7-0. Carried.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, thank you, Council. We move on to Mayor's remarks, and I just wanted to highlight two. I know Councillor Gannan will probably be able to fill in some other ones, but I wanted to just highlight that we had an enjoyable, brisk, cool, sunny morning to plant trees in the Anastasia, adjacent to the Anastasia Park. And there were some enthusiastic students from the high school there, as well as Landcare Niagara, who basically took charge, and we planted a small acreage. And councillors Gannan and Riley were also on hand, as well as several of the staff, including our green team from staff. And so it was actually a delightful morning. So I just wanted to highlight that. The other thing that I wanted to highlight was I also saw several councillors, as well as many other community leaders at the All Candidates debate last Wednesday. And I always enjoy and like to highlight what a blessing it is to live in a country where the free exchange of ideas still takes place. And in an open and respectful forum, there was certainly no disrespect shown to any of the candidates, and I always like when that happens as well. So those are the two items that I was going to highlight at this time, being that I participated in them just last week. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm going to move forward then. We have the report of committee. Councillor Riley, you have the resolution for planning, building, and environmental minutes of May 9.
I do, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes of the May 9, 2022 Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting be accepted and the recommendations contained therein be approved with the following exception items, and there's currently none.
Member, can I get a seconder, please? And I see Councillor Trombetta. So I'm going to ask, are there any exceptions, comments, or questions with respect to the planning minutes? I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that has carried. Thank you very much. And we're going to move on to admin, fire, finance. Minutes of May 16. Councillor Trombetta, you have a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes of the May 16th, 2022 Administration, Fire and Finance Committee be accepted and that the recommendations contained therein be approved with the exceptions of items, and I don't see any. Well, there might be one, so I move that, okay. Mr. Looking for a seconder.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Councillor Trombetta. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Riley, and I'm going to ask at this time, are there any exceptions, questions, or comments? Councillor Rayner.
Yes, can you pull item 36-22, please?
Yes, we will pull that item, Madam Clerk, and vote on the balance unless there are any other comments or questions. or exceptions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the balance, please indicate.
Support.
Thank you, and that carries. Councilor Rayner, I'm going to assume that you're going to move that one. If you could just you may have a resolution in front of you to just read it for the purposes of the record, I guess. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the clerk, could you please read that item, please?
Yes, I will. Through you, Mr. Mayor, the resolution would read that item A 36-22 of the May 16th Administration Finance Fire Committee minutes be approved. This being that recommendation report WLFD-07-2022 renew fire station number 2 tender report dated May 16, 2022 be accepted, and that the tender be awarded to Nikon Construction in the amount of $3,456,590 excluding HST, and that council approve a total budget of $3,950,000 for the replacement of fire station number 2, and that council approve a budget amendment BA 2022-04 for $1,250,000 as outlined in this report, and that a bylaw be adopted to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement with Nikon Construction for the construction of new fire hall station number 2 in the amount of $3,456,590 excluding HST.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Jonker. Thank you. Councillor Rayner, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'm bringing it up at this time, as I mentioned in the last meeting we had. This has been on my plate since first elected in 2003, and I'm so grateful to see it happen. But I also want to point out something that I think is important that we've got to look at because of the impact it has on the tax base. It's like a juxtaposition is what I'm basically going through to explain the comparisons between what happened in last council and this council. And because of the fact that I have knocked on nearly every door and got my head almost taken off because of the expense of the building being built in town, this is another large expense that's going to be to the taxpayer, although it's 1/8 the amount. The difference being that 4 years ago, almost to this date, council approved building a very expensive building in town that resulted in a very high taxation rate for more than a generation, over 25 years. The implication happened later, not knowing, but it did happen. The government shut it down 4 times because of its threat to public health and the fact that it had the potential to take lives. This council is coming in now, building a building 1/8 that cost. That is the opposite in the effect that it's designed and built to save lives. This building is being built. It's been many years coming. And I know if I'm going to knock on doors that they're going to talk about it, but this building is something that is important. It's needed. It's been long overdue. And in every aspect of it, it is built only for the interest of saving lives. And I think because of that, I think it's one of the greatest accomplishments that has happened in my term as council, other than the other fire department, other Station 1 that I was also a part of, the construction and improving for that one. To me, the protection of the public is paramount, and the volunteers that we have in this township are fantastic. They do a phenomenal job, and now we are giving them the facilities and the equipment, which we've given them all along. We just didn't give them the facilities all along, but we've certainly given them the trucks when they wanted it, the pumpers when they wanted it, the snorkels when they wanted it. Anytime Charlie Street came, anytime Dennis Fisher came, we always answered to the need. And now again, in Station 2, they want 4 additional people. We approved that. We are looking in every way possible to invest the taxpayers' money in this building for the purpose of saving lives. And I think it's a phenomenal accomplishment. I'm so glad it's finally happened. And I'm very proud of this council in the last committee for unanimous support of this. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. And just for the record, you don't, when I ask for comments or questions, you could have made all of that without pulling it. So you can always speak at any time, unless you wanted to do an amendment or something like that. But just for the future, go ahead and just speak your mind anytime you want to address something on it.
It's just such a major expense,
I
Mr.
know,
Mayor. Like,
I
it's
know.
almost $4 million that I kind of isolated because of the fact it is a lot of money, but it's certainly warranted.
Yeah. But you understand what I'm saying. So,
I do.
all right. With that, any other comments or questions about that? I think we would all echo those thoughts, Councilor Rayner. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. And so
We have a recorded vote, Mr. Mayor. Maybe we had a recorded vote at committee. Could we have one also on council on this?
Okay, yeah, all right. Madam Shime, a recorded vote has been called, so go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, Councilor Rayner?
Support.
Councilor Bradford?
Support.
Councilor Ganan?
Support.
Councilor Jonker?
Support.
Councilor Riley?
For the third or fourth time, I support this.
Councilor Trombetta?
Support.
And Mayor Bosma.
I'm in favor as well.
Thank you. That is unanimous 7-0 vote carried.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, moving on then, we have the minutes of Public Works Rec Committee from May 16. Councilor Jonker, you have that one.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes of the May 16, 2022 Public Works Recreation Arena Committee meeting be accepted and the recommendations contained therein be approved with the exception of item number, and I see no exceptions. So.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any comments, questions, or exceptions to the minutes? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. Oh, wait a minute. Back up. I need a seconder. So thank you. Can I get a seconder, please? And I see Councilor Ganan. Thank you. Any comments or questions or exceptions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on, we have the items reconsideration, a motion to rescind, as well as the tabled item, which is our MZO there tucked away till we resurrect it. Moving on to 15.2, members of council, do you have any new remarks that have not already been stated? Councilor Rayner, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Today is the start of something that happens in this township for the last little while. It's been extremely important. Mr. Mayor and some councilors were busy planting trees on the weekend. The helicopters were over my fields today protecting the trees that are there.
Yeah. Okay.
So Paul Robertson, Trees Unlimited, the helicopters, my wife was walking the dog and lo and behold, the helicopter comes right up behind her and does the area that we've paid for on our property to look after our 100, 150, 200-year-old oak trees. And they went 4 passes, my wife said, which is very impressive. Paul did a phenomenal job on my trees last year. The year before, it was unreal, the devastation that those gypsy moths did. And last year when they did it, it was so calm and they hammered it and it made such a difference. So I'm just so glad that they're out. So you should see helicopters in your area. You'll know what they're up to. They're spraying right now. And it's so important that we can get these gypsum moths under control because what they destroy, we'll never see again in our lifetime. These 150, 200-year-old oaks are absolutely irreplaceable. So it's very good that they're out there, and I'm really pleased that people have participated in this program.
Okay,
it's expensive.
Yeah, well, some of us are aware of that. Yeah. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ganan, I saw your hand.
I'll defer to Councillor Riley in case I'm duplicating. No, you're okay?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to go to Councillor Riley.
No, he said it's okay. So I do have several things, and I did stroke off, Mr. Mayor, what you've already spoken about. So on April 25th, we had a presentation to our council about the Mountain View Lemonade Day. And I received an email again this week. I don't know if others did, but they have still not received any families in West Lincoln. So they're still looking for 1 or 2 families, pardon me, who might want to host a lemonade stand to support family and children's services in Niagara. Mountain View Homes is supplying all of the ingredients, and it's well advertised online if people are online, and if they're concerned and they think it's a good idea and they're just hearing this now and they want to take part on June 12th, then if they email me, I'll certainly put them in touch with the contact there. The other thing is that in Wellandport at the library on this Saturday, May 28th, there is a special guest, Elaine Burwald from the Niagara chapter of Native Women. And I think it was Elaine who actually did a native blessing on the gardens when we opened close to 5 years ago. And she will be there doing a discussion at 2 o'clock on Saturday about the discussion and about the healing aspects of that Indigenous garden in Wellandport behind the library. So also on the 28th is Rockin' the Hospice. So if you don't have tickets yet and you're interested in hearing wonderful music and taking part in silent auction or draws, it's at the West Niagara Fairgrounds this Saturday evening coming up as well. No one has mentioned yet that our market is going to begin this week, but although I have seen several councillors posting it and reposting it, so hopefully the word is out there that our market starts on Friday between 3 and 7, and we're looking forward to that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was a special thanks to the fire department. I did post something online, but we were at a Kiwanis meeting last Tuesday and came home to find stuck in our door, "Sorry we missed you." And the firefighters were out in the neighborhood doing really necessary fire prevention, checking smoke detectors and carbon monoxide monitors, and left a card. I mean, we weren't home, we were missed, but it is also a reminder that we should be doing those things. And so I really want to thank the fire department and their staff for the cards, for doing the work, for just being part of the community in that way. I thought it was fabulous. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Councillor Ganan. And yes, the market. So glad that you highlighted that. Councillor Riley, did you have something?
You guys kind of covered a fair bit of it. So the last two things I just want to mention is just a reminder to the community regarding the burn permits. They can get them online. I'm noticing the fire department's doing a really good job at trying to recirculate that post and get that information out there. And it's, for very minimal cost. It protects you for the whole year, and it's nice and convenient. The other thing I wanted to just have on record as well is, starting to hear as we get into the summertime here, closer to the summertime, we're starting to notice a lot more traffic-related issues and concerns of speeding and people apparently using stop signs as yield signs, if that at all. And so just, I wanted to bring that forward to our, staff in general as far as how as we go and navigate in the summertime. I don't know if we can do something social media wise to help kind of get people talking about, road safety and respecting our neighborhoods, but I do know I've heard from a resident actually today, and I almost hear every week from someone regarding some kind of public safety concern, but more recently today regarding their street being used as a drag strip, and they're hoping that the township at some point can look at the possible reduction of speed limits in certain areas, and again, an advocacy for trying to get the police, and we realize most of this is going to be resolved by a bigger police presence. So again, just kind of putting it out there, if we can keep that communication with our law enforcement to keep patrolling our community. And Mr. Mayor, I'm looking at you as being one of our regional councillors as well. If you can keep that that message heard, I think our community is going to really need it, and everyone's as they're getting back to normal and pulling out the nice cars and cleaning them up. We just don't want to see any incidents or accidents or tragedies that are going to happen. So hopefully the community can get the message to just, be respectful of your neighbors and your neighborhoods, and, please just follow the laws, because, we don't want to see anyone get in an accident.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Councillor, for that. And just to add, Councillor Riley, it is very aggressive planting season out there right now. So there's some heavy duty equipment, planting equipment and such on the road. So if we could also drive with extra care around the large equipment, it's quite noticeable, and it's actually great to see, but it's also, if you're in a hurry, these are not pieces of equipment that we need to engage with. So
I fully agree with that, especially people who, we have one of them that come down our road and quite frequently, and sometimes people are a little too impatient, they whip around, and I'm so nervous one of these times someone's going to hit a pedestrian or even a child there who's just minding their own business. So,
okay. Any other Councillor Jonker? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, but you took what I was gonna mention there. Definitely the rural area. The farmers are hard at work, and let's be patient with them, but let's also give them a wave and a thank you, right? They're this time of the year, they're putting in crazy hours. They're working as hard as they can to get things planted, and there's a wave goes a long way, especially when they're having long days and seeing the community supporting them in that, right? So patience and a wave goes a long way to our farmers in these weeks ahead.
Good.
So,
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah. Any other councillors? I see none. So we're going to move on to bylaws. Councillor Trombetta, you have bylaws.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, the leave be granted to introduce bylaws 2022-40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and at the same time shall be considered to be read the first, second, and third with one reading, and here be adopted. And that the mayor and clerk are hereby authorized to sign in a fixed corporate seal thereto, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder, please? And I see Councillor Jonker on for seconding. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that carries. So moving on to confidential matters. We have some this evening. Councillor Bradrick, you have the resolution to go into closed.
Yes, moved by myself that the next portion of this meeting be closed to the public to consider the following pursuant to Section 239, Bracket 2 of the Municipal Act 2001, 18.1 CAO Bev Hendry, personnel matters relating to an identifiable individual, CAO 2021 performance.
Thank you. Councillor, can I get a seconder, please? And I see Councillor Gannan. Thank you. I'm going to take up the vote to go into close. All those in favor? And that carries. We move into close now. So we probably will be leaving this, coming back a little bit later to close this meeting. So see you on the other link.
No, Mr. Mayor?
Yes?
Sorry. No, there is no closing of the link. We're not going into a different meeting.
Okay, so we're
just asking anyone that is in the council chamber besides those members of council to leave, and that I guess we stream put up that we're in closed session at this moment.
Okay, thank you. So that just secure.
We're improving our technology then.
Correct.
So are you handling the oath part there? Okay, so thank you. We're now about ready to go into open. So we have let me see here. Councillor John, you have the resolution to go into open.
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Moved by myself that this council meeting does now resume in open session at the hour of 9:25 p.m.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that? And I see Councillor Riley. Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We're now in open session. Councillor Ganan, you have a resolution to deal with what we discussed and closed.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So moved by myself that the memorandum dated May 24th, 2022 from the CAO regarding the 2021 CAO performance be received for information, and 2, that requests approved in closed session be and are hereby approved.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder for that? I'm going to go Councillor Bradrick. Thank you. Any comments or questions? No. I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. And so I move on to adjournment, and I declare this meeting adjourned at the hour of 9:27.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Good night.